Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Conversation Capital with myself, Ursula Mariani, your host, and the voice of reason, Sis B.
Hello, I'm good.
Are you good? I'm glad you're good.
Today we're sporty vele.
What are you thinking? Gibela phezkwethu.
Ubangene. Kabiri.
Oh my gosh, ubajele.
Oh.
Is that you faltering on Zulu?
You know these things.
Shocked. Bonga, what is your first encounter with money that you can think of as a child where you started learning and understanding the concept of finance, financial literacy, money? Do you have a story?
I do have a story. I'll answer it in two ways. My mother always says to me I was a very understanding kid. In that anytime I saw something at the store, she'd say next time and I'd take it. So much so, I started saying it before she'd say it. So, Mama, I like this doll. Next time, ne? Yeah. Next time, ne? I was just that kid who said next time. So I guess that's where I had some understanding who you don't have or to get something immediately, right? And then as we speak about how your childhood forms who you become or plays a huge role in who you become. Now, that's the danger.
Now.
Now I'm like, there's no more next time.
The time is now.
The time is now. There was enough next times. So that's why we have the expert.
I can attest that Bonga is a shopaholic. Bonga sends all her things to my place. I take a lot of deliveries to my place. And when I tell you, I get a delivery at least once a week. So Bonga is a shop. And how mind online? Online purchase is a thing. So you're saying no more next time.
There's no more next time.
You need to learn to be a next time girl.
So if there's anyone who needs this episode,
yes,
it's me.
So we've got the guru of children's financial literacy.
Before we go there, your lesson.
My lesson was definitely the moment where I started understanding money for what it is. I always thought money was a thing that was gotten at the bank. But where it came from before the bank, I didn't know. So when I'd cry for something in the store, when my mom says I don't have money, I'd be like, well, go to the bank. That's where we get it. And she says it took a long time for her to explain the money has to go into the bank, and that into the bank is kept like it's my salary. And she says it took a few lessons for me to be like, oh, okay, this
there's
thing
not
doesn't
an
endless supply that comes. That was my first real encounter with learning the concept of money. And as we said, I realized that we all have a moment that we can think of as children where the lesson starts coming in. And I wondered to myself how that lesson could have been better harnessed or better groomed, that moment where you realize, okay, she's learning this concept and what do I do with it? And so as a result, we brought in guru of children's financial literacy, Terasai Manonga. Hello.
How are you?
I am awesome. Thank you. I'm so sorry for making you sit and smile and listen through all of that for so long. But really just, bringing into the point that, we've all been kids and we've all had a point where we learn, there's something called trade. And you've seen that and you said, I want to take that moment and turn it into a teachable moment for parents. And you've written 2 books and we're going to get into all of that. But perhaps let's just start with who's Terry.
Okay, before I go into that, I just want to say I feel so honored to be here. I always listen to your conversations and I was like, one day I'll see myself there.
And
so
here you
this
are.
is the one day. So thank you so much for that.
It's a pleasure.
So who is Terasai Manonga? So my first name is Talent Terasai. My first name is Talent. My second name Terasai Manonga. In my language, Terasai means look. So I always say, like, when my parents named me, I think they were saying, look at this beautiful girl. Yeah. So... but I didn't, growing up, I didn't see myself as that beautiful girl. I'll share about a bit of my story over there. So I'm a financial literacy educator. I love reminding people that our money matters and we must be in charge of it because many people, we are very toxic with our money. I've changed the term GBV to MBV, man-based violence. That's how many people we react with our money. So I think I was in that journey as well, where I made lots of money mistakes. Some of them, even if when I look at them today, I'm like, girl, what were you thinking about? So, but we learn as we go. And I always say I'm always also learning. There's a lot to be learned. And professionally, I'm a management accountant, certified chartered management accountant, and I still work in 8 to 5 job. I'm a management accountant where I work, telling how we can save money and all that. So basically, that's the expertise I'm in. And I've also authored 2 books, as you mentioned, about kids' financial literacy, because it's something we are not taught in schools. Like, there's no subject about money in school. We have to figure it out, and mostly that's when we make the mistakes. And I'm also a happily married wife with 2 children, 2 rainbow kids. Yeah.
How many people say happily married? People just say I'm married. Okay, Terasai, we see you, girl. So, Terasai, maybe then let's start with the journey and the story. You've talked about a few of the mistakes that you made, and I found it interesting because people often, when doing financial literacy, you start targeting an older group, the group that's just starting to enter the workspace. But the truth is, the damage has already been done. It makes me think of, I was chatting to somebody in soccer, like a soccer coach for one of these teams. And he said, oh no, if we're not picking you up before you get to high school, you've already got bad soccer habits. We're not taking you into one of the big league teams. And I was like, before 13? He was like, absolutely before 13. He's like, because your habits are bad. And it makes me think of like, there's certain grassroots lessons, right, that need to be learned. And what's the moment that you realize that I want to enter into the space where I'm teaching children? How does it happen?
So I think 2020, during COVID time, that's when I realized that, you know what, as people, especially I can say as African people, we don't really know how to manage our money. Like we saw what happened in 2020. People were retrenched. There were salary cuts and all that. And you find many people, like even when you go on social media, it was people like who were crying. People were depressed and all that. Then I realized that, you know what, it's not really people crying because they've lost their jobs, but they are crying because they don't know when their next meal is coming. Because we are used, like when I work, it's hand to mouth. We don't really save. We don't have that culture of just saving or investing money. So if I lose my job today, which means tomorrow, I don't know where to start. So that's when I realized that we have a huge gap of understanding how we need to manage our money. So 2020, that's when the dream came, and I was like, you know what? we need to start like learning to talk about money. It was also a time when I was also like trying to figure out what really is my purpose in life. As I mentioned before, like I grew up with a low self-esteem, right? Because I'm a stutterer. I was born with a speech impediment. So that was the time also I was trying to figure life and figure out what exactly should I be doing and all that. Then I was like, you know what? I think financial literacy is a gap we are actually missing. So that time, remember, we're not working, we're not doing anything. And there were a lot of WhatsApp groups which got created. And that time I was like, okay, I created also a WhatsApp group. I wasn't sure what I was going to be talking about and all that. Then I just started talking about, I just created the group and said, let's talk finances with Tari, which I later on registered the company that year in 2020. Then on that group, we were just talking about money and just saying, okay, guys, even if you are retrenched, let's look, okay, this is what is happening today, but what else can you do? We are in COVID, things are shut down, but there's also an opportunity gap online. What is it that you can do? And all that. So those conversations, they led to something else. And then on those groups, someone invited me to go and to come and teach teenagers online. Then as I was teaching those teenagers, I created the whole content and all that. After training them, I'm like, you know what? I've got this whole content for teenagers. And I also looked back at myself. I'm like, you know what? I never had someone, my mom or my dad, I never had someone who set me down to say, when you start working, this is what you do with your money. No one gave me that script. Like, it was just, when I know about money, it was like, okay, because I grew up at a boarding school. It was when we were going to boarding school, they pay our school fees, and we asked for tax money. That was it. I think those are the conversations we were having about money, but no one like really told me that this is how you do with money and all that. Then I was speaking with my sister, because she's also a published author, my younger sister. Then I was like, you know what? I've got this content, and I want to turn it into a book. But I'm not sure how best can I do it, because I can't just put it like this, because it would be boring. Then as we're like brainstorming, talking through about everything else, then she was like, you know what, I think put it like this, put it like you're writing a letter to your daughter, giving her the lessons of money when she turns 15 years. So that's how I wrote my Facebook, What School Never Taught My Daughter. Like, it's more like a letter on a 15th birthday, giving like all the lessons about money, because at school she's not taught about that. At church, we are not taught about that.
Yeah.
So as a mother, I was like, okay, on your 15th birthday, this is my gift to you. I'm now giving you the lessons to teach you. What is it that you need to understand about money? Because we don't know how to manage our money.
And then, maybe if we're going to segue, somebody saying, because for me, this is often the case, we always throw around the term financial literacy, but I hardly ever hear the lesson of it. So I'll be listening to like a radio interview. We need to know financial literacy. I'm like, well, drop one lesson while you're at it, let's start at the beginning. If you're going to, you start your module and somebody's listening to this is saying, help me. Somebody's saying, help me. I'm saying, help me.
Where do you start?
Where do you start? What does financial literacy look like? And what would you say the first lesson is?
So financial literacy, I think, is just basic, like how to understand how to manage your money, right? So with that, as we put it like in 5 pillars, we call them BIDES.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go through those 5 pillars. So first, you need to understand how to budget your money. Right. So they're not in order, because there's a step. I'll explain that. So you need to understand how to budget your money. Like when the money comes, how do you give direction to that money? You need to give direction to your money, because if there's no direction, it will just end up going everywhere. Right. Then the I.
I like that direction,
like,
setting an intention.
Yes. And then the I stands for investing. Once you have the money, you have given it direction and all that, which is something we really lack. So you need to invest your money. Like investing, I always remember I also speak to younger kids. It's more like you are making your money grow. You are planting seeds for your money to make it grow more. We grew up knowing that money doesn't grow on trees, but now we're saying, you can make your money grow on trees, because you can plant it and make your money work for you.
Yes.
Basically, that's about investing. This is also where we talk about you need to pay yourself first. And many people confuse this when we say you need to pay yourself first. They think like, okay, when I get my money, I need to go and shop. No, we are not saying paying yourself for this current life. We are saying pay yourself first for your future. Because as we are living today, we forget about our future. We're forgetting that now I'm still young, I'm still able to juggle around doing many things to get the money. But when I'm 50, 55, 60, I won't be able to do that. So who's going to maintain this lifestyle I've created for me now? So we also need to make sure that you pay yourself for that future if you want to maintain the same lifestyle you're living today. So that's the I part. Then the D is debt. When you finish facet, who calls you? The banks. They'll be saying, now you can qualify for a credit card. Now we can give you a loan. As if it's for free. Guys, debt is not free. And we don't know about that. When you go and buy your first car, they tell you about balloon payment without telling you the implications of having a balloon payment. Right? But when you are sold that idea, you think like it's an excellent idea, but not knowing the consequences. So we also talk about, okay, you need to understand debt. What exactly is debt? And I always say there are 2 types of debt to that, good and bad debt. So you need to understand which one are you going to go for, which one helps you grow your money as well. Then we talk about the E. E should be the first one. Because before we go to all these 3 concepts, you need to be earning the money. So the E is you need to earn the money for you to start talking about budgeting and all that. Because if you're not earning money, there's nothing we can talk about, right? So you need to learn skills of how you can earn money. And I always say, even the Bible is written that we need to have more streams of income. So on that earning, always look at ways, how can you increase your income? You need to at least have 7 streams of income so that you don't always be saying, okay, tomorrow I need to be working to have food on the table. There's a point in time when you say, okay, today I can just relax because I know I've put in the work and all my streams of income, they are flowing in the money. Then lastly is savings. So savings is just more like you're just creating that habit for you to be able to invest money. But saving is difficult if you don't know how to, where to start. So I always say, okay, start with something. Start at least maybe with just build that habit. Because if you don't know how to save even 20 rand, it's difficult even when you start earning more money. I always want to give an example of I Blew It All. I don't know if you watch it.
Yes.
Those guys, they
Yes,
get
we do,
millions.
girl. We do.
Those
It's
guys,
our favorite.
It's our favorite. Me in another life. It's this one. I go to Deben. I blow the money. I blow the money.
Devin is finishing our people.
Yeah. So you know what happens on that one? It's because they get the money. But if you get the money today and your mindset is not ready for that money, you're just going to blow it away. So when money comes to you and when you're not ready for it, you're just going to blow it away, right? So you need to start at least with, okay, let's say maybe, for example, you earn 1,000 rand. Start saving 10 rand. It makes a difference because you're building a habit. Because with money, you need to build that habit so that when more money comes, it knows that, okay, this person is now ready for me because they have built that habit already. And I always say, when money comes, when there's no plan, it's easy as it you've wasted it. Like if you don't plan for it, like maybe you get a salary increment and you don't plan that, okay, this salary increment, maybe I want it to increase on my investments. It will just be, you won't know what's happening to it.
Curtains, blinds. Before you know it,
Yes.
and in 3 months, it doesn't feel like you changed anything. You've forgotten all of that.
Yes, that's the thing. So basically, that's what financial literacy is about. So you just need to understand those 5 pillars and see how you can build them in your life.
I hate that you're talking to children, and I need this. At my big age, because as you were saying it, I don't want to lie. How to is bonus I think, how can I change something, in the house or whatever? And having a plan for your money is just so important. And so you're meeting children. How do you get them engaged? So a parent is like, how do I get my child engaged in these lessons where it doesn't fly over their head, right? Because it can easily fly over a teenager's head who's like, what is she talking about? I don't pay rent. I don't buy food.
My allowance.
How does a parent listening to this say, how do I get my child to engage with this content?
So with me, I'm always advocating that we need to normalize talking about money. Like we need to normalize talking about money. On dinner tables, let's put the phones away. Don't wait. Let's not wait only for month end. Like on dinner tables, let's also talk about, like, you know what, guys, especially like beginning of the year, include your children on your goals you're making as a whole household. Like beginning of the year on that dinner table, maybe let's say on January 31st, I agree we usually meet as families and all that. January 31st, you say, you know what, December 31st, not January 31st. December 31st, sit down with your children. I always say also these conversations also depend with the age groups of your kids. Because you can't be saying to a 5-year-old child, you show them your pay slips. The next thing, everyone at creche will be knowing that. Right.
My mom earns 12,000. She showed me.
So it also depends with the age group of your children. But since you mentioned teenagers, let's say, okay, with parents with teenagers, they are now reasonable. They now know things. Like, so maybe let's say this year, maybe you want to downgrade things because financially things are not okay. Maybe you are highly indebted and all that, and you saying, you know what, we can't continue living the way we are living. Sit down with your children, tell them, you know what, guys, this is the situation we are having. Show them those statements and say, guys, these are all the debts we are having, and if you don't do anything, this house can be repossessed because we see these things are happening, right? And one thing which we don't know as parents, that our kids are so reasonable. The moment when we are open with them, they won't come back to me and demand things which are necessary because I've been open to them. The only time when our kids come and make unnecessary demands is because we are not honest to them. We want to paint this picture to say like things are okay when we know that deep down things are not okay. So if your children are teenagers, sit down with them, show them the pay slips. Like, this is how much we are earning. If you have a company, show them this is how much revenue is coming, but this is how much cost we are having. And there's no profits. We are even making losses. We're not even break even. Sure. So like, be open, have those conversations, be open with them so that they understand. And you tell them that, you know what, I'm thinking maybe let's cut A, B, C, D. If you have any other ideas of what we can cut off, please bring them. And you find they also bring some nice ideas. So I always say, like, let's normalize having conversations with our children and let's be honest enough to tell them the truth of what is happening.
Terasai, you're saying something so important. I remember one time I was in grade 6, so I was like 12 years old. So I'm 12 years old and I'm sitting in maths class and my teacher wants to make some kind of example. She says, okay, hands up, who knows how much their parents earn? I don't put my hand up. My parents have never told me, even up to today, mom and dad. and so I don't put my hand up, and then, other kids answer. Then she says, Ursula, give an estimate. How much do you think your parents earn? So I'm like, maybe my dad earns 100,000. And then it was a public school. She goes, my dear, if your dad earned 100,000, you wouldn't be in the school.
Why would they ask that? Like, why would a teacher even ask that?
Hey, Ms. Duplessis, you asked that question, you know yourself. And it was her comment back that made me so shy as to, like, I had no idea what an earning was.
Yes.
I had no idea what a lot was. I had no idea what a little was. I had no idea how much the house cost. And so as you're saying this, I'm saying, imagine that. Imagine I could answer that question with impunity as a 12-year-old child, to say, oh, my dad earns whatever much and this is how much rent is, and to have such conversations is not a conversation. And a part of me wants to think of a demographic. Maybe she asked that question because in a different demographic, maybe white households like she was from, maybe that's a common thing. Maybe that conversation is common. but all of us in that class were struggling to answer that question. We were Black kids, and it's not common in a Black household. So as you're saying, I'm like, damn.
Back in the days, rules were on a low bar for teachers.
Yeah,
to be able to ask that in a classroom.
We would
have that response.
Guys, there was corporal punishment in my school. Like
rules were down low.
But I just love this idea of, and another thing that I've also seen online a lot is really the concept. I'm sure my parents did do this one of giving kids money for certain tasks, right? So whether it's washing the dishes, this and that, and allowing them to then see how they take these lessons and extend it to another. What's a lot of money? What's too little? What's the range of money, and what can money actually do, so that kids actually also have very practical ideas of what money is. I think of, my mom always gave us money for offering. And imagine a world where the offering came from my allowance, rather, where it was 10%. So I get into the concept of this has to come from you, so like I really like that. How old are your children, if I may ask?
I've got a 10 and a 7.
Okay.
So they're still young now.
And have you already started with these lessons?
Yes, I've started.
What does that look like?
For me, I think I'm enjoying the journey. But sometimes when they tell you other terms, they'll be like, you know that. Like there was this time when I went with my daughter for, there was this market and they were asking questions. They asked the question about budgeting and she raised her hand and she answered. So I'm like, okay, so you'll be listening. Because I also do like online classes as well for your pre-teens and your teenagers. So I make them join those classes. So it's been going so well. And I think since when I started in 2020, that's when I started like just trying to enrich them the lessons. So I explained how you can start grooming your teenagers. So with your younger ones, you start like slowly, as you mentioned about the like giving your kids tasks and paying them. But with that one, with me, we always say like, you know what, there are some tasks you need to teach your kids that they do because they're part of the household. Like doing your bed. I'm not gonna pay you for doing your bed, my girl. You do that because you're part of the household and it's your responsibility to make sure.
Just like adulthood.
Yes.
Just like adulthood,
So you need to make sure that where you're sleeping is going to be clean. You need to make sure that your room is clean. Also, like with me, cleaning dishes, I don't pay them for that because they need to know, like, if I eat, I need to make sure that if I want the next meal, my plate should be clean. Who's going to do that for me if you don't have a helper?
There's something I've noticed in my daughter, which I wonder if there is any correlation, right? I noticed that my daughter, when she's playing around other kids, and it's something that the nannies, as well as I think her teachers, also notice in her, but definitely when she's at a park and there's other aunties there, they will acknowledge this in her because they don't see it in the other kids. And it's that she's one of the very few kids who say please and thank you. And the part of the correlation that I wonder about is if it's something that she just sees us doing at home, and then we normalize it for her, right? Because there are other things that maybe we don't get as much of a chance to show her because they're not things that we would do on a regular basis. But what I'm curious about, and the psychology that lies in us as adults, right, is the fact that, so I'm going to give you an example. There's a kid whose mom bought a car, and I'm not going to mention the exact model, but it's a biggish car, SUV. So this kid goes to a particular school, and the mom usually picks up the kid. So one day the mom asks a friend to come and pick the kid up. And then the kid is like, why are you picking me up in this car? It doesn't have a table, so where will I put my water? So what I want to ask you is related to how we ourselves and how to deal with ourselves. So we don't want to downsize. We don't want to live in the area where we're forced to shop at the ShopRite. So we ourselves have those issues. So which is why I started off with the correlation part, that our kid sees it happening at home and therefore displays it when she's at a playground. But if the kid is living in a household where mom doesn't do, only does business class, in terms of flights, or only does the fanciest of things. What is your opinion on that when the parent themselves is trying to teach the kid how to balance and live a controlled lifestyle where there's moderation, but they themselves love the fancy things and would never separate from them? And do you have that?
No, I don't have that. But what I want to add on that is that what monkey sees, monkey does. So our kids, even if you tell them A, B, C, D, they're not going to listen to that. They see what you're doing and they want to do what you're doing. So in as much as we are talking to our kids, we also need to understand, okay, what is it that we are trying to communicate to them? And I always say, like, you know what, I think also this era we are living of social media, we try to compete with filters, because most people, they don't even post their real lives, right? And me at home, I'm like, okay, I saw this one, she bought this car, now I also need to go and upgrade my car. And you are just putting yourself more into debt on things you can't afford. If you can afford that lifestyle, good, you can go ahead and have it. But if you can't afford it, please do the right thing and don't put yourself under unnecessary mental health issues because you just want to keep up with people. In as much as you can say, okay, I'm going to be dressed like this because I want them to see me. And after we see you, then what?
Then what?
It's you who's going back home and you're going to be stressed because maybe you borrowed the money to do that. We have seen you, then what? So I always say to people, like, you know what, in as much pressure we are having on social media, ask yourself, is it necessary for me to have this pressure? Or also maybe also understand. I also want to take it back to seasons. We are all in different seasons of our lives. I might be in a season of planting. So if I'm planting, what do? I need to make sure that I take care of my capital because that's the seed which I have. But if you're in a seed of harvesting, I can't be competing with you because you're now eating your profit. Me now be now eating my capital because I'm trying to match up with you, but I don't understand your season.
I needed that. Please continue. I needed that. Because hey, we're out here eating capital and we don't understand. Other people are in harvest season.
Yeah.
You know?
So going back to your question, given, I think as parents, I think one thing we lack as a people, we are not honest with ourselves. We also don't do introspection. People are even afraid to look at our bank statements. We are afraid to do that. So I think one thing which I always tell people is like, okay, make it a habit. With me, I do it every day. Every day I look at my bank statement because I also don't want those little debit orders. Even if it's R1, it's my R1. You must not take my R1. So every day I look at my bank statement. And every month I look at my bank statement and I question myself. Because I always say, like, your money should go to the things you value. If you value traveling, that's what should be reflected on your bank statement. If I'm a homebody, that's what should reflect on my bank statement. My bank statement should not reflect other people's things which I'm seeing on social media. So every month, look at your bank statement. Ask yourself, okay, I say I value this. Is that where my money is going? And be honest with yourself when you're having those conversations. The conversation you can just have on your own and reevaluate that. Because the moment when you're not honest with yourself, what are you also teaching to your children? And I also love to say that what we also don't know is that money is energy. So what you give it to it, that's what it's going to also bring back to you. So if you're not honest with it, you'll be like, okay, busy praying, eh? We love praying, eh? We love praying. God, if you bless me with this much money, I'll do this. I'll go and give to orphanage homes and all that. And when the money comes, now I'm like, oh, I need to buy that Brazilian. Now the man will be like, but you lied to me. So next time it disappears in your account. It disappears so quick. So you need to also be honest and understand that money is energy. It listens. It has ears. So be honest with yourself. Be honest also with money. What you say you want to do, even if you promise money that you not, when you come to me this time, I also need to do self-care. I just want to go for that spa. Make sure you do that when the money shows up for you. Be honest with money.
So how do you achieve that? Because you may be talking to a teenager, right? But the truth is, like Given says, they come from a particular household. So what do we do? Do we involve parents in your coaching sessions? What do we do in terms of ensuring that we synchronize the parent and the child?
So with what we do, like, we also do adult coaching as well. So as an adult, if you want to come, we also do adult coaching. But with kids, we only do with kids only. So we separate the groups. Like preteens, they've on their own classes. Was these ones, they want to understand like the surface level, like the basics, and also the language we are using with them. It's like that simple language with them.
So it's more building on an independence level. Okay, here's an allowance you get. What do you do around it? How do you behave around it?
Yes.
Okay.
So like what we start, like what I've also introduced with my kids, we spoke about allowances. I think I ended up cutting on that part. So with allowances, I give them assignments, guys, like look at things you can do in this household. We can pay you. And you come to us with a proposal to say, I'm thinking to wash your car. Then they ask, so how much do you pay that guy who comes to wash your car every weekend? Then we tell them. Then they say, okay, I think we want to wash your car. And they're doing a good job here, guys. They wash my car very nice. So we tell them, okay, so if you wash our car, maybe, for example, I'm going to pay you 50 Rand. But what we do, because when you go to work, there's cost to company, then there are deductions. So we also give them pay slips. So we teach them what they are going to expect in the real world, right? That when I say I'm going to give you 50 rand and your money comes month end, you're not going to get money every day when you're working. Suppose we want to teach them also the difference between working and having your own business. So when you're working, you're doing your chores. So now they came up with 4 chores they do, which we pay them. So every month we send their pay slip. We say, okay, this is your cost to the house, right? This is how much we said we're going to pay you, but there's going to be payee. Now they know what is pay as you earn. Yes. We are also going to deduct our rent. You're not staying here for free, but we deducted maybe your 1 rand, 2 rands. But we just want them to understand that concept that if I say it's 50 rand, you are not going to get it as 50 rand. You might get it as 40 rand because there are other things we deduct on that. So that they know. And we also like teach them like, okay, each time when you went to church on Sunday, you must also give from that. Then you must also remember to put money in your piggy bank. We'll be monitoring what they're putting in their piggy banks as well. So we are kind of like just teaching them those basics. And when it comes to teenagers, now with teenagers, this is where like we kind of like improve the conversations to say, okay, when you're investing, let's open an easy equities account. If you're still underage, get your parent to help you to open that easy equities account and understand what investing is all about. When you get your pocket money, don't use everything. Easy equities allows you to use even 50 rand. And guys, I don't work for easy equities. I'm not even promoting them.
The way we talk about easy equities on this show, easy equities, you must see us, please, and sponsor us.
Yeah. So, but the reason why I'm giving an example of that is because it's a cheaper platform to use. Because even with 50 rand, you can do it. So for teenagers, they can get a 50 rand. So I say instead of you,
I think it's as low as 10 rand actually.
That you can invest on
that
easy
you can
equities.
invest in easy equities.
It's
I think
also
it's as
really
low as 10.
easy to use.
Yes, that's why they call it easy. It's easy
my
to use.
gosh,
Yes.
Yeah, I love
Hey,
it.
labala nguputsa must check mine totally digitally millionaire.
Avele ngesambona la ubonga.
Yeah, our resident millionaire.
Bonga rata comfort so.
Girl, virtual.
So we have those conversations that, okay, if you're 16, go to the bank, open a bank account. When you get your pocket money, put it in the bank. Experience like how it is to be using your money even in the digital space. Like how is it? How does it feel like? So we kind of want to do our lessons a bit more practical to say, go and do this. Go ask your parent to go and help you to open that bank account. If you are still underage, we say, okay, maybe ask your mom if they have an account which they are not using, and use that account, put that money in the account, and have a plan, like put your budget down, write it down. Whatever income if you're getting, if it's 50 rand, write it down, put your expenses down and everything so that they understand everything. Like how do I give direction to my money? So we try to simplify it and make it as a bit more practical as it's supposed to be.
I like the fact that you've taken on this task, because for me, as soon as you were saying it, I was thinking parents are already so overwhelmed, by their day-to-day 9-to-5s. I thought of 2 things. I thought, firstly, it's a reminder of what you said, as your money should reflect your values. Your time should also reflect your values. So if it's important to you, you'll invest the time.
Absolutely.
Right? But you've also created a bit of a shortcut for parents that are very busy by saying, okay, give me your kids. Let me teach them for you.
Yeah.
So I like the gaps that you've closed there with regards to that, because there's a mom listening saying, I work 7 to 7 shifts, I'm a nurse, and I come back, I need to cook. At which point am I going to, do pay slips for somebody else?
Yeah.
And you've really just, in the market, you've seen the gap for that, and you've said, actually give me your kids and let me teach them financial literacy. And as you're talking, there's a part of me though that's also very, I don't know if saddened is the word, but like, our education system, I mean, it should be there, right?
Yeah, it should be there.
It
but
should be there.
like if it's there, we might not be working for these companies as well. So there's a reason why it is the way it is.
What do you mean? You're saying something there. What do you mean? Expand.
So with me, I always say, like, I'm an accountant. Because when I did accounting, I thought they'll be teaching me about my own personal finances. But in accounting, you don't learn anything about personal finances.
Yeah.
It's more like how to do the company accounting. Yes. So there's a reason why they don't teach us like how to be money savvy, like how you need to have a relationship with your money. Because if I know that there's a good debt and there's bad debt, which means obviously the banks are not going to make money.
Make money.
Yes. So, and also the economy won't evolve, because that's how the economy works.
I
In
love
your
that.
on your Instagram page, there's a post where you say culture affects how we use money.
Yes.
If you could expand on that.
Yes, because I always say like there's some things which are also good about our culture, but there are some things which are also like making us treat our money also badly. Like for example, I can give an example of black tax. I think we all experienced that. That with myself growing up, there was no point in time when I went back on holidays when it was just only me and my siblings. My dad he took care of all his brother's kids, his sister's kids. Like we're always a full house because back then in his generation, that's how it's supposed to be. Like if you're the first in the family, you make it in life. You also need to take care of everyone else. So that's more like a financial obligation. Because you find like almost all of these people you did take care of. None of them came back to say thank you or even to appreciate the work he was doing for them, like to send them to schools. Some of them even went to boarding schools and all that. But it was also taking on the things which we're supposed to be benefiting, which I'm kind of bitter about because I think I've got childhood traumas on that one, which I'm still healing on. So I think, like for example, that one, because it's a culture thing that when you make it in life back then, like if you were the firstborn, if you make it in life, you were also supposed to take care of your siblings. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I always say, like, it doesn't need to come as an obligation. People must not be entitled to the things you can do. You can do for them. It has to come like from the heart, and you can also need to assess and see, can I manage this?
Yes.
Can I afford it? And also in doing it, to what level can you afford to do what you're supposed to be doing? I always say, like, you know what, it's good that we take care of our parents, right? But with me, I'm not going to be expecting my children to be taking care of me.
Yes.
We are the generation who have to say, black tax needs to come to an end. That's why I was saying it's also important that we also save for that future. Because if I'm not saving for that future, I'm busy buying nice clothes, nice shoes, whatever, and I'm not saving for that future, which means I'm going to be expecting my children to be taking care of me, which is wrong. These are some of the cultures we also need to be breaking down. I can also give an example of lobola. When guys pay lobola for us, it seems like they're buying us, and their expectations they expect me to be doing in the household. And sometimes
Preach it.
The expectations, yes.
yes, there's some expectations because you be saying like, you know what, I paid this much lobola for you, so even if you're going to work, you still need to come and do this and do this. Not understand this, like these are conversations we need to have to say, you know what, I can manage to do this I can't manage to do, so maybe can we find a helper to assist us because we are all working and we have the money. You know, so those are some of the cultures we just need maybe to break those myths, to say, you know what, lobola is more like, okay, we are just uniting the families. It's not like you are buying me. Because we are God didn't create us that we should be sold. Like we are not commodities at the end of the day.
And then someone is saying, hi, Maritari, na 4,000. How do I budget 4,000? You're expecting too much from me. Financial planning is maybe for people who are wealthy. What do you say to that?
I think that's the mindset we all have. Like if I have little money, then there's nothing I can save. But I think that also goes back to the seasons. You need to understand the season you're in. So there was a point in life when I was also earning 4,000. And you know what I did? I went to live in a one room where I could afford the rent, right? So on that 4,000, maybe I could pay rent of 500 rent. Then I would make sure that my groceries cover this much. Then maybe I would also send my parents money, but I would also still have money like to save.
You sent your parents money on 4,000 rand?
Yes, actually, we need to be supporting them.
Damn, you good with money. Like,
Yeah.
are you good with money, girl? You are good with money, girl.
But living in your means.
Yes,
that's
you
what
need to
you're
live in your means. You
saying.
just need to
Sure.
understand the season you are in. So if the season you are in is you are earning 4,000, make it work for you. Don't say you are earning 4,000, then you want to stay in a studio flat where the rent is 4.5. That will not balance. Yes. So just understand, okay, if I'm earning 4,000, maybe if I can stay in Tembisa or Soweto. I used to stay in Soweto, guys. Was that what I could afford at that point in time? But know that, okay, the seasons shift, seasons change. We've been in winter, now we are in summer, so seasons change. So you, even on that 4,000, look at other skills you can do to earn more money. Look at other things you can do to earn more money.
How can I increase my streams of my streams of avenue. What am I trying
Streams
to
of
say?
income.
Revenue.
Streams of income, a revenue income, so that I can afford to live in the 4.5. But if it's only 4,000, I need to live in a 500 rand.
I just want to say, just as because we know the comments, we know Soweto has suburbs. I know the comments. I know
yes,
them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's a very good question.
You're very right, Kevin, because people will be like, hey, that's my,
Hey.
you know. And
Oh,
we're-
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
we're just speaking of context with the bigger, grander scheme. If you compare it to like a Parkhurst or wherever, and not to say that there aren't suburbs in Soweto,
Yes,
but we're
yes.
speaking of the big room ideally, and so we absolutely hear that. And so, just to wrap it up, are there any lessons you want to share with parents? Are there any lessons you want to share with teenagers? Because you know how many teenagers approach me? We have young girls watching our show.
Absolutely.
So, they're listening and they always say, oh, Sister Shida, we learned so much from you. And they're listening to this and, maybe just if you could give us a parting shot.
Yeah, so I think to parents, I always, I want to leave this parting shot that, when you discover a talent in your child, please groom that. Like I can say this, it's no longer about the education. If you see that your child is talented in singing, promote that. But just also, maybe if you have some morals you want them to be learning towards that industry they'll be going in, just teach them those morals, but do support your children talents, because these days we see people who are making money through their talents, and also normalize having conversations about money. Just start with the simple basics, like with your younger ones, start teaching them, buy them a piggy bank and tell them, when I give you 5 rand, can you put 1 rand here? Don't use the whole 5 rand. It just teaches them the habit so that when they grow older, it will be easier for them. And then to teenagers, I always say, like in my book also, I've written that like there are a lot of, there's a lot of work you can do, or you can start your own companies online without needing any capital. So if you have a phone, I know many parents are now even buying your kids phones these days, and you have data, you don't need anything. You can just start your YouTube channel. If you have a skill you are good at, if you are good at writing, you can start your blogging, and you see people are making money through that. So there's a lot of things you can start online. Instead of spending all your data and your time filtering through, going through other people's profiles, status, admiring things which are even filters. So look at those things you are watching on YouTube and see what is it that I can also start doing to earn money. And I mentioned about blogging and YouTube only, but there's a lot of things you can do online to make money.
Tari, your lessons are so important, and I can see it with my baby. When I'm on like any platform, can you buy me this? Can you buy me this? Because she knows I'm an online shopper and she sees the boxes coming in. So she is learning some lessons to say, if you see something on the screen and you like it, it can come.
It can come.
Deliveries for me. There's a huge lessons, and she's only 3, and I can see that a lot of my unconscious habits, like scrolling on Take a Lot, scrolling on Superbalist, she's inheriting because she sees, Mommy, can I have this? Play-Doh. The next day there's Play-Doh. So even the instant gratification type of stuff. So you're absolutely right. There's things we're doing unconsciously that impact our children's behavior.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's deep. Mom.
Right? Because I saw the Play-Doh you got.
Exactly.
I saw it this week.
And she saw it on Take It Out. Can I have this?
Sure. Thank you so much for your time, Terry. Thank you for sharing the wisdom that you have, not only with us, but with our audience as well. We really appreciate it. That was today's episode on financial literacy for children. Parents out there, do better. For now, though, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye, and God bless.